I'm just going to do a little experiment to see if I checkerboard, well, what will happen? How easily will they just draw this out? We are going to lose a little brood there, but believe me, it's going to be worth it in the long run if you can clean this up. So I want to show you guys something I think you'll find interesting is Wonky comb. Yeah, even though I promote adding wax to foundation that hasn't been drawn out yet, I don't always get around to it, and I think, okay, let the bees do it. But I will say this, on all the frames that I add wax to, they never build wonky comb. But on the frames that I don't add extra wax to, just the wax from the factory, I can see some wonky comb every now and again. So I want to show you a frame of wonky comb and what you need to do about it. All right, let's take this top off, take a look at the bees in here. This is, again, another package that I installed and got started. They're not really in this upper super yet, so we're going to just take that off so we can get to where the bees are. A lightweight super there. They've started drawing some frames out in that super. All right, there's the bees. So this is what it's like if you've installed a package of bees and you're doing your first inspection. I always like to have a few of these to test and to help videotape so that new beginners can have a feel for what it's like, kind of match it up to what you're doing in your hives. But we'll just start drawing out some of the frames over here on the side wall. No bees over here. Yep. And then we can slide this one toward us. All right, that's good. Now, to be fair, these are older frames that I've had sitting around, and maybe some of the wax kind of got not as fresh anymore. And it could be that's why you get some wonky comb, but adding wax to frames always prevents wonky comb. Let's take a look at this. Now, that frame was drawn out nicely. No problem there, right? Looks good. They're starting on one side. They're bringing in some orange pollen. Let's keep looking until we see our wonky comb. Always like to smoke every frame or two, especially if you're barehanded. It's best to work your bees between 10 and 2 because a lot of bees are foraging at that time, and so you don't have to really worry about so many bees in your hive. A little bit of wonky comb there, but since it's integrated into the middle of that frame, good brood pattern around it, we're not touching that. And this side looks really good too. I'm gonna leave that be. All right, let's look at the next one. I'll smoke again, just to keep them calm. Got a bee hanging out on my hand. I want her off of my hand just in case I bump her against something, I might get stung. All right, let's take a look at this one. Okay, it's drawn out nicely. And this side, a little wonky, but again, it's manageable. We're going to leave that one. Now I'm starting to question if this was the one with wonky comb, but we'll keep looking. We got one more try at it. Okay, there you go. Look at that. Wow. Pretty wonky, huh? Let's go ahead and shake the beads off. So I'm going to just kind of give it a shake. Let me turn it around for the camera here. The bees kind of get airborne when we do it. There we go. So now we can see more of how wonky that is and how to take care of it. It's disappointing because we see a few things that we'd like to keep. We'd like to keep all of this pollen up here. Down here there's pollen and scattered about, and there's some brood in here. It'd be nice to keep all of that, but it would be too, it's too critical that we get rid of it, because if we don't get rid of it, at any time the queen could be back there and we never can find our queen, plus the frame next to it, this is drawn out too far, the frame next to it is going to be equally wonky. All right, let's get all the bees off. Let's use our brush. Well, the first thing we ought to do is we need to find our queen. So we need to find out where our queen is. So she could be on this frame walking around underneath those things. That's a possibility. That's why first thing you want to do is find your queen. Once you spot your queen, then you won't damage or kill her when you're trying to correct this frame. So let's go ahead and see if we can find our queen. I'm gonna make sure she's on one of these 3 frames over here. Start back with this one again. I also want to check for eggs. All right, here we go. Okay, so we're just going to scan around. Now this is the frame that has multiple eggs. I think, but looks like they cleared some up. Yeah, I really don't see multiple eggs anymore in here. Let's see, that's a frame of multiple eggs. Yeah. I don't know if, I mean, step in the sun. Yeah, I mean, I do see frames with multiple eggs, or cells with multiple eggs. That's gonna be hard to film, isn't it? I think I'll just use the clip that I got yesterday, because that's gonna be tough in this to get it. Yeah, let me just use that clip. I'll just insert that clip of multiple eggs there. Okay, so let's see. Don't see the queen on that frame there, so let's look around. And I marked her green. I marked her with a green dot. Green is 2024, so she's wearing a green dot. So all of you watching the video, be on the lookout. You can help find the queen. Looking for a green dot, people. Here are some old wax moth's cocoon from a long time ago that were on the frame edges, not on this year's, but a long time ago. All right, let's see, green dot, no green dot. Got a nice waggle dance over here, look at that. Is she gonna keep waggle dancing? Not really, not real impressive. No green dot on that side. Let's look over here. I don't see a green dot there. We got one more frame for a green dot. No green dot unless she's covered up by other bees. Nothing over there. Give a minute for the bees to shift around. Nothing. So she might be on a wall when I shook off that frame, or she could be underneath that stray comb over there too. All right, there she is. I see a green dot. Right in the middle there. So now we know where our queen is. We don't have to worry about injuring or hurting her. Okay, so now we can put this frame back in there. And we'll put this frame against that queen frame. All right, so now we just have our Wonky comb frame to deal with. Let's deal with Wonky comb. Are you ready? All right. So we know the queen's not on here. So let's get all the bees off. I'm just gonna shake them and bang them. Get most of them off back into the hive like that. And there'll be a few on there, but not many. So what we're gonna have to do in this case is we're gonna take off right through here. We're gonna just draw a line. Well, anything that, like this starting point, is acceptable. Like they can make that pretty even. That's working good. The rest of this is coming off. And what we're going to do is not throw it in the bee yard. If you throw it in the bee yard, you could attract small hive beetle to the pollen, things like that. So try to keep it where you can discard it somewhere else. We are going to lose a little brood there, but believe me, it's going to be worth it in the long run if you can clean this up. And then after we get this cleaned up, what we have to do is add more wax to it. That's going to help a lot. And we're going to get this column all the way up to the top of the frame up there because it's just not going to work. And get this little piece here. Very good. If you're teaching, like little kids in school or something, save these pieces of comb for when you go and teach somewhere. If you can pass this around to your students, they love to, you could hold this piece and say, look at the pollen in there. And you could tell them all about where bees get pollen, such like that. So that's that. So again, discard all of this wax. You can melt it down, clean it up if you want to. It's pretty fresh wax. And so this is what we're going to actually add more wax to. Now take a close look at this. I'm not very impressed that there is any significant wax from the manufacturer on this foundation at all. I mean, it's just not impressive, is it? I don't know if the bees have maybe started adding, yeah, that's the bees have started adding some on that side, but you just don't see much else. All right, so let's add some wax. Okay, we got wax added to our frame, so now we're ready to put them back in. So the top super has about 2 or 3 frames that the bees are drawing out, so let's just take it off temporarily and put it there. All right, now let's take a look at our Wonky comb that we waxed. Again, look at that, the infamous red wax. So we'll see how that does. Well, I'll keep you apprised through the summer. We're hoping that we got rid of the Wonky comb, that they can draw that out evenly with extra wax on there. So let's take it, and I added some on the back side. Let's take it and face the bees that are in there now so they can get started a little quicker because it's facing them. All right. And then Pat, my videographer, said, hey, while we're waxing, let's just do them all. So we did them all. Look at that. Yep, good suggestion. And so by adding all of these in here, it's going to speed up the process of all of these being drawn out. Now, I want to talk about one thing while we're here to this level. Let me smoke these bees. What about checkerboarding the brood area? Can you checkerboard the brood area? I think so. In fact, I want to really bad. So I think I will. I think I'm going to slide some frames around. And checkerboarding the brood area could be a little risky because you're putting something in the way of where all the bees have got things going. I don't know if I'd recommend this to every single body, but I'm going to do it because I'm just going to do a little experiment to see if I checkerboard well, what will happen? How easily will they just draw this out? So I'm putting a undrawn foundation right in the middle of the brood nest area. And I think it'll be fine. I don't think it's going to cause any problems with the bees. I think they can just pull that out. It may give them a sense of urgency to pull it out faster. We'll see. Yep. Alrighty, let's get our super back on the top here. Bees have already worked up. Now, I know a lot of you might be wondering, you know, why do I have a super on top of here? It's just the configuration that I decided to throw on here. Will I put a deep on there? I don't know. I like to tinker around with different things. So I might just let this be a the configuration that they go through the winter with. I could leave it like, I've overwintered several colonies that have been a deep and a super, and overwinter in that configuration. And then any other supers I want to add for my own honey would be added on top of this super. So their brood nest area has now become, I want to become this deep and this super. So I've done other configurations and they overwinter really well like this. So when you add another super, you always have to wonder, do I add the super, two supers? Like if this one's full, do I add another super on top? Or do I take the full super up and put an empty super underneath the bottom? Top super, bottom super. Made a video on it. Check it out over here. I'll see you guys over there.